Time has flown so fast. This is already season 3, guys. This is pretty cool. And yet another season of The Masked Singer, though. That's the real season the real show we're talking about right now. Another season of Masked Singer is in the books. It's actually been in the books for a while. I have kind of been lazy about making this video. Another season is in the books, though. This is probably the most talented cast of The Masked Singer yet. Masked Singer US 4. One of the most talented casts yet. Several different singers that each one could argue should have won in their own way. That being said, this season was probably the easiest season to rank that I can think of, which doesn't really make any sense for me to say because I've never ranked masks like this before. I did a week by week, blow by blow of season 3 that I had the audacity to call a review, and that's one of my least favorite videos that I've ever made. But this time, I'm bringing the people what they want, or at least what I want them to see. So let's get into it. I had a hard time putting Dragon at dead last. I mean, he wasn't too bad. I mean, he was bad enough to get unmasked first, but compared to the other first unmaskings of groups B and C, he's not really any worse. The thing is, rap is a hard skill to master on the show. 2 other masks rapped this season, and they didn't do that much better. They didn't go that much further. Looking back, I appreciated Dragon's raspier voice, and he wasn't a horrible rapper. I mean, it was Busta Rhymes. You know it's gonna be great. That being said, I did put him at last because he was placed last, so I only had that one performance to judge him by, and it was a smidge mediocre if I am being honest. It was only okay. But by and large, I put Dragon last, but not dead last, as the others near the bottom of the list aren't much better than him. As close as 16 was to 15 on this list, number 15 is number 14 is literally breathing down the back of number 15. They're all super close, but I put Giraffe at 15. It was another mask that, he did try his hand in rapping, and his first performance was actually really awesome. It was one of my favorite performances of the season. And after the season premiere, everyone was commenting on how bad Giraffe was and how he should have gone instead, so he's probably going next. And I was shocked because I genuinely thought that he was on track to being the next Frog, which is a huge thing to say. He was not as good as Frog, but he was, I think, one of the closest things we got to Frog this season. And then came week 3, the next time Group A was performing, and Giraffe then performed by far my least favorite performance of the season, which I think it was like Get Down On It. It was just really bad. He was subsequently unmasked, and I was kind of like, yeah, it's a shame, but he really dropped the ball on that one there. Gremlin is surprisingly hard to rank, because his unmasking was unlike one we've ever seen on the show. He unmasked himself, and some people on the internet have pointed out that they think Gremlin wasn't supposed to go home, that production was banking on one of the other masks to be sent home by the viewers that night instead. However, the moment I heard Gremlin's voice, I could tell he was an older singer and that he probably wouldn't last very long on the show. As much as that sounds, Tom Bergeron from last season was sent home very early, a little too early if you ask me. I thought he was doing well. Gremlin wasn't a horrible singer. He just wasn't that great. His voice was fine. It was just sort of hard to hear at some points, probably because at some point he started crying, at least I think. However, some people on the internet also speculated that he was under the influence of drugs while performing, which honestly would explain why he abruptly unmasked himself. It was a genuine sight to behold. At first, I thought Rooney was having a medical emergency, which was kind of scary, but once it was revealed that he was totally fine, I'm starting to think if it was just like a publicity stunt or something. I really don't know. It's something we'll probably never see again on the show. Ah, yes, the meme of the season. If I'm being honest, Lips wasn't the worst either. As a matter of fact, going off of Group C's first performances, if I was the sole decision of who went home, I don't think I would eliminate Lips. That being said, she wouldn't have made it past the next performance, but it's good to get that out there. It was an early end to such a weird costume, and she gifted us with the first and likely only performance in which the mask accidentally snorts in the middle of the song. It's no secret that football players aren't the best on this show. See Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski for reference. Did Mark Sanchez do any better than them? Yeah, I guess I'd say so, but Baby Alien still wasn't great. I think his voice was a little bit too soft. Maybe that's just a singing voice, or he was a bit uncomfortable singing. But the other trap he fell into, I believe, was singing Faith on his first performance. Sounds really weird for me to say, but for some reason, every time I've seen someone sing the song on a version of The Masked Singer, the performer's voice was so soft, and at this point, I'm not sure if it could be a coincidence. I think it was Echidna from Masked Singer Australia 2, I think was the last person to sing Faith, and he also had a very soft voice, so I don't know. Something's a little bit sus there. His second performance, his voice wasn't that much different, and finally he was sent home. I was honestly shocked that he was unmasked when he was, however, despite him being but despite him competing against some, powerhouse masks. This guy is what I would call Taco Part 2. He was not as good as Taco, but he was still pretty solid in my opinion. And his unmasking is another case where if I had my way, I probably would have kept him at the expense of one of the other masks in Group C. The irony is his first performance was actually pretty good, and his second performance was even better. That's probably the only time this season that the last performance of a mask before their unmasking was the best of their performances. He's definitely neck and neck with number 10 for sure. If Squiggly Monster was this season's Taco, then Broccoli was this year's Banana, and Banana made it further than Taco on Season 3. First impression-wise, Broccoli was worse than Squiggly Monster in my opinion. Heck, he was almost to Lips's level, but he was kept longer by the audience, and with that, he had more chances to improve, which I'll admit he did improve. He was still pretty mediocre, but at least put up a good fight in Group C, but he got to the Group C finals against Mushroom and Jellyfish, and, those are near impossible odds for him to beat those two. I'll admit I wasn't very hopeful with Watcha going into this season. They teased a bit of his first performance in, a promo, and it wasn't that great from what I saw. I didn't think he did very good. Then I actually was able to soak in that entire performance, and I really enjoyed it. And the other two performances he was able to do before he was unmasked, soaked in all of those, and he was a lot better than I initially thought. I began to realize he's actually somewhat successful with rapping. He did what Dragon couldn't, and that's even more impressive when you consider that Dragon was Busta Rhymes, an actual rapper, and Watcha was Lonzo Ball, a basketball player. Basically someone who isn't a professional rapper, beat a professional rapper in a singing, or rapping competition. Now that being said, I'd still feel a little insane comparing him to Frog, but he's pretty close to him in my opinion. I wish he could have lasted longer, but the Group B finals was a double unmasking, and he was up against Crocodile, Seahorse, and Serp, and just like Broccoli, he didn't stand a chance against them. Masked Singer's first attempt at a dual mask was a relative success. Snowballs were one of my favorites. They were surprisingly good. I don't know why, but considering they were a duo and it was something never done before, I thought they would be sort of a novelty. But no, they did a great job. Once again, they fell into the same trap Broccoli and whatchamacallit fell victim to, being up against tough competition in the group finals. Snowballs went toe-to-toe with Sun and Popcorn in the Group A finals, and, Sun and Popcorn were two fan favorites. In my video speculating on who would make it to the Super 6, I explained how Group A was probably the closest to the three finals. Sun was a lock, but Popcorn and Snowballs seemed to be in this constant struggle of who was better. Ultimately, I predicted that Snowballs would go, and I turned out to be right, but I was still disappointed that they went that early, but I guess I just had to go. There were bad singers like Gremlin and Lips, then there were okay singers like Baby Alien, Squiggly Monster, and Broccoli, but Jellyfish is just good, if you ask me. Her first performance, I was like, yeah, she's good, not as good as Mushroom, and ultimately I'm not expecting her to last long. Her next two performances after that were really hit and miss. I liked her version of Don't Start Now, but besides that, the rest of her performances were just kind of meh, in my opinion. She made it to the Super 6 because Mushroom was really her only competition in Group C, and she was basically immediately vaporized at the Super 6, especially when you factor in how it went that the two people that made it from each group face off against each other again, and the loser goes home. Popcorn was hands down the best older female mask since B, both statistically and in my own opinion. The sad thing is, despite how good she was, I knew from the beginning that she just didn't have what it would take to win. But I was aware that she wasn't going home anytime soon. She made it to the Super 6, which wasn't surprising, but her journey ended there. During the season, I wasn't the biggest fan of hers, but looking back, there are a lot of performances that I liked. The funny thing about Seahorse is after her first performance, I actually thought she was only okay, and then after her second performance, she had such a crazy increase in vocal talent in between those performances. A lot of people said they thought she was going to win it all, and not that I agreed with them, but I was definitely certain she would make it pretty far. Looking back, she was a lock for the Super 6, but knowing now how Super 6 would work, she wouldn't have had stood a chance against either Croc or Serpent had Serpent made it to Super 6, and there was no way Watcha was going to make it either. Ultimately, she placed 4th, which makes enough sense. Some people might comment saying actually she placed in a 3-way tie for 6 alongside Jellyfish and Popcorn, so in theory she actually was 3rd, but she took her mask off the last of the 3, so technically she came in 4th, and then Jellyfish was 5th, and then Popcorn was 6th, because that was the order that they took their masks off. Popcorn, Jellyfish, Yeah, Popcorn, Jellyfish, Seahorse. Croc was definitely the underdog of this season. Across his time in Group B, he was kind of seen in my eyes as the third string to Serpent and Seahorse, but he quickly jumped up the ranks, so to speak, and he was able to squeeze his way into the Super 6, and then he was able to pick up a win against Seahorse. His luck ran out once he made it to the final 3, but I sort of figured that was about as far as he'd go. He's personally one of my favorites. A lot of his performances I really liked and were some of my favorites of the season. I don't even know where to begin with Serpent, guys. Immediately, I saw him as the best mask in Group B, possibly the entire season. I also had a huge suspicion that he was Leslie Odom Jr., and, you know, I don't even know why I brought that up, because, like, everyone, if you go into the comments of his performance videos, every comment is just Leslie Odom Jr., Leslie Odom Jr., it's Leslie Odom Jr., which, yeah, okay, yeah, everyone. I had the same idea as everyone, but it wasn't like I was going with the flow or anything. You know, I'll be honest, I was predicting him to win. Even Sun. I saw Sun, and then I saw Serpent, and I was like, nah, Serpent's got it in the bag. You know, when it came to who was going to the Super 6, for me, there was no question that Serpent would be bound for it. I won't deny that Serpent's last performance was probably his weakest, but I was still certain that he did well enough to make it, so you can imagine my utter shock when he was unmasked. That being said, I have a theory as to why he was sent home, because, you know, when he was. Obviously, Serpent was not Leslie Odom Jr., but instead the singing surgeon himself, Dr. Elvis Francois. He had made a big name for himself over the pandemic when he went viral singing a cover of Imagine by John Lennon while in his scrubs. I don't think he went home. I don't think he went home because the viewers didn't like him enough. I thought the viewers loved him. Dr. Elvis is a renowned surgeon at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, which is basically the Ritz-Carlton of hospitals. Francois would already probably be too busy to ride it out to the end. But imagine how busy he'd be in the middle of a global pandemic. He didn't have time to keep going. It's a shame, but he's needed back home to save lives, so I guess Serpent's story has a happy ending anyways. What made Mushroom so great was that he could sing differently for each of his performances if he wanted to. His voice was much higher in his first performance compared to his others, and even then I think there are some slight differences in his style across his other performances as well. He quickly became a favorite to win it all, and people could only dream of the day Mushroom went against Sun. Mushroom unsurprisingly sailed to the final 3, where I legitimately thought he would win. If you watched my predictions video, I pegged him as the winner, guys, but alas, he came in second, and he's still one of the best masks the show's ever had, hands down. Also, I'm kicking myself that I never guessed Aloe Black, because I like his music enough to recognize his voice, but he was just singing sort of differently than usual, so it sort of threw me off. But now when I go back and, like, listen to Mushroom's performances, I'm like, oh my god, that does sound like him, though! It just a little bit, it sounds like him, though, and I'm, like, so mad. Come on, it would be a crime to not put her at 1. From the first few seconds of her first performance, I thought, that's our next winner. And yeah, meeting Serpent and Mushroom complicated that prediction, that premonition I had just a little bit, but look where they ended up. They didn't end up in the winner's circle. Performance after performance, Sun delivered, further and further distancing herself from the rest of the pack. As much as the other masks could have tried, the fans just, like, swarmed over Sun, and there was no way she couldn't win. Anyways, guys, that's it for the Season 3 premiere of the Everything Bagel channel. Man, it's crazy already, the 3rd season. I know I'm saying that a lot. Just to kind of wrap up a quick little recap of the videos coming up. Pretty soon, whenever I'd say in less than a week after this video is uploaded, I will upload the kind of like the second part to this video, which is the top 10 Masked Singer performances. Then I will be doing I think I've officially decided, I'm pretty much deciding this right now, like, as I'm speaking, I'm going to split this Survivor Amazon video into a 2-parter, just because I have a lot of information crammed into it. It's going to be a lot like the Survivor Marquesas videos, and so that's why I'm splitting it, because I don't want to make, like, a mega long video. I'm going to try, maybe that's one of my New Year's resolutions, is to not make videos over 20 minutes long, because in the past I've had problems with videos that are that long, and it just doesn't look good seeing, like, you know, videos on my channel that are 20 minutes long, because it's a huge commitment. It's basically like watching a movie, essentially. And then in the far back, the bottom of the barrel is I'm gonna get the Hamilton video out to you guys. I've had, like, the script is not even complete on that. It's a mess. I have, like, one small part to work on it yet, and I might need to go back and fix some other stuff, and then I have to make the video. It's gonna be a while, probably shoot for, like, February, March at the very latest, but I'm not that lazy of a bum. I'm not that lazy bum to just sit around and not make the video. That being said, school's coming back. Like this is actually the last day of winter break for me. As I'm filming this, so I'm gonna be going back to school. But I mean, like, I've been making videos all through the school year. And I'm distance learning now because where I live, we went back to distance learning. And you know, I guess that means I have more time to make videos. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. By the way, little PS, I've noticed, thank you guys so much for watching the two most recent videos. They've been going up way up in views, and I'm so happy. Thank you guys for the support. I don't typically get videos that go into the triple digits. I think I have, like, before this, I had, like, one video in the triple digits and one video in quadruple digits for views, so it's really nice to have 2 more videos. I think the Masked Dancer video has, like 120 views, and I want to say the Masked Singer UK video has, like, 215 views. I'd have to check again. But, yeah, thanks for that, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. I already said that, but, you know.